Ever since I was younger, I've always had this thing on my chest. If regular people ask me, "What is that on your chest? Why do you have that? What does it mean?" And for me, it's always been normal. I've always had it, so I never really thought about, well, what is it? So today we're gonna be talking about what is this thing on my chest. According to the Mayo Clinic, a ventricular septal defect, also known as a VSD, is a heart defect due to an abnormal connection between the lower chambers of the heart. There are four different types of VSD. According to Stanford Children's Health, there are four different types of VSDs. There is the membranous VSD, the muscular, the conal septal, and the artery ventricular. Oh my God, he said the artery ventricular canal type of VSD. And because mine got, well, at first I had, VSD, and mine worsened to a ASD TSD repair, and that was really bad because when he looked at my, pictures of my heart or anything like that, they had to, all you saw was like my blood going the wrong direction. It's definitely hard living with the VSD because even to this day, even after having the surgery to fix the problem, I still have all the symptoms, all the side effects that I had for, well, not all of them, but I still have some of them. And, some of the symptoms include, shortness of breath. I don't get cold. I don't know why that is. I could go outside in shorts even when it's snowing. It's my favorite thing to do, honestly. And I don't get cold, and I don't even own a coat, to be honest with you. But also, I always have like sweaty hands and sweaty feet, and I don't know why. It doesn't matter if it's hot or if it's cold, or if I'm hot or am I cold. It's just something that I had, and it's something I will always have, according to my doctor. I used to also get like really sharp pains in my chest, and I never really knew what they were. So I always said my heart hurt when I was getting, like, I was experiencing that pain. And so, like, my mom, whenever I would tell her, "Oh, my heart hurts," she'd know, like, "Oh, you're having, these really bad pains, so you should sit down." VSDs, surprisingly enough, are very rare. They're considered to be rare. There's less than like 200,000 cases a year. And that's why I find it ironic that both me and my younger sister have the same problem. Well, not the same problem. We both have VSDs. Hers is a little more serious than mine was, but they were both really serious. And the doctors and people, when you tell them this, like in the medical profession, or like cardiologists, that both me and my sister have this problem, they're like, that's a 1 in a billion chance. It shouldn't happen, and it happened. So it's definitely something that I worry about if I ever decide to have children. There are different ways to treat, VSDs. You can always, and they also can give you medications. You can wait and see what happens, or you have to have surgery. And with me, they wanted to wait to see what happened because in some cases, the problem could correct itself, but in my case, it did not. So they had decided to have the surgery, and the risks are, of course, anytime you have surgery, there's already great risk. But when you're working on the heart, particularly, they were worried about it not restarting back up because they had to stop it, and it was a very big concern of theirs. It was definitely a lot to overcome, VSD, especially since, you had to have such a major surgery at such a young age. And they're basically saying to, your parents and your family that, hey, they may or may not wake up. We don't know yet because we have to stop their heart. And if they don't wake up, then, they basically died on the table. And it's not something that, you want your family to hear. But, I woke up and my mom actually told me a story about a girl who had the same procedure I was doing there that day, and she didn't wake up. And so they put her in a medically induced coma, and I don't even know if she lived or not. And I said, that could have been me. So, I definitely try to make the most of all the opportunities I'm given because I don't want to feel like I've given up on something. Another thing, though, was after I had my surgery, and when I was older, I always had this strange anxiety whenever I went into a hospital, and I didn't understand it for a while. And it wasn't until I was like, really talking to someone about it. They were like, "Do you think it had something to do with your, I guess, traumatic experience when you were younger in the hospital, and not being able to leave, not able to see your family, and constantly being by yourself?" And I was like, "I don't know." But I guess it did, because now when I go into hospitals, I have kind of like anxiety attacks and they get really bad. And then I just have to like sit somewhere by myself and I have to really think about where I am, what I'm doing, why I'm there. It has to be very planned out. I can't just randomly walk into a hospital or be like a complete disaster.